Ceratopsidae, sometimes spelled Ceratopidae, is a speciose group of marginocephalian dinosaurs including Triceratops and Styracosaurus. All known species were quadrupedal herbivores from the Upper Cretaceous, mainly of western North America, though Sinoceratops is known from Asia, and are characterized by beaks, rows of shearing teeth in the back of the jaw, and elaborate horns and frills. The group is divided into two subfamilies. The Ceratopsinae or Chasmosaurinae are generally characterized by long, triangular frills and well-developed brow horns. The Centrosaurinae had well-developed nasal horns and nasal bosses, shorter and more rectangular frills, and elaborate spines on the back of the frill. These horns and frills show remarkable variation and are the principal means by which the various species have been recognized. Their purpose is not entirely clear. Defense against predators is one possible purpose, although the frills are comparatively fragile in many species, but it is more likely that, as in modern ungulates, they may have been secondary sexual characteristics used in displays or for intraspecific combat. The massive bosses on the skulls of Pachyrhinosaurus and Achelousaurus resemble those formed by the base of the horns in modern musk oxen, suggesting that they may have butted heads. Centrosaurines have frequently been found in massive bone beds with few other species present, suggesting that the animals might have lived in large herds. Paleobiology. Behavior. Fossil deposits dominated large numbers of ceratopsides from individual species suggest that these animals were at least somewhat social. However, the exact nature of ceratopside social behavior has historically been controversial. In 1997, Lehman argued that the aggregations of many individuals preserved in bone beds originated as local infestations, and compared them to similar modern occurrences in crocodiles and tortoises. Other authors, such as Scott D. Sampson, interpret these deposits as the remains of large, socially complex herds. Modern animals with mating signals as prominent as the horns and frills of ceratopsians tend to form these kinds of large, intricate associations. Sampson found in previous work that the Centrosaurine ceratopsides did not achieve fully developed mating signals until nearly fully grown. He finds commonality between the slow growth of mating signals in Centrosaurines and the extended adolescence of animals whose social structures are ranked hierarchies founded on age-related differences. In these sorts of groups, young males are typically sexually mature for several years before actually beginning to breed, when the mating signals are most fully developed. Females, by contrast, do not have such an extended adolescence. Other researchers who support the idea of ceratopside herding have speculated that these associations were seasonal. This hypothesis portrays ceratopsides as living in small groups near the coasts during the rainy season and inland with the onset of the dry season. Support for the idea that ceratopsides formed herds inland comes from the greater abundance of bone beds in inland deposits than coastal ones. The migration of ceratopsides away from the coasts may have represented a move to their nesting grounds. Many African herding animals engage in this kind of seasonal herding today. Herds would also have afforded some level of protection from the chief predators of ceratopsides. Tyrannosaurids diet. Ceratopsides were adapted to processing high-fiber plant material with their highly derived dental batteries. They may have utilized fermentation to break down plant material with a gut microflora. Malone al. 2013 examined herbivore coexistence on the island continent of Laramidia. During the late Cretaceous, it was concluded that ceratopsides were generally restricted to feeding on vegetation at or below the height of 1 meter. Physiology. Ceratopsians probably had the low mass specific metabolic rate, typical of large-bodied animals. Sexual dimorphism. According to Scott D. Sampson, if ceratopsides were to have sexual dimorphism, modern ecological analogues suggest it would be in their mating signals like horns and frills. No convincing evidence for sexual dimorphism in body size or mating signals is known in ceratopsides, although was present in the more primitive Ceratopsidae and Protoceratops andrewsi, whose sexes were distinguishable based on frill and nasal prominence size. This is consistent with other known tetrapod groups where mid-sized animals tended to exhibit markedly more sexual dimorphism than larger ones. However, if there were sexually dimorphic traits, they may have been soft tissue variations like colorations or dewlaps that would not have been preserved as fossils. Evolution. Scott D. Sampson has compared the evolution of ceratopsides to that of some mammal groups. Both were rapid from a geological perspective and precipitated the simultaneous evolution of large body size, derived feeding structures, and varied horn-like organs. Quote, Paleoecology. The chief predators of ceratopsides were tyrannosaurids. There is evidence for an aggressive interaction between a Triceratops and a Tyrannosaurus in the form of partially healed tyrannosaur tooth marks on a Triceratops' brow horn and squamosal, a bone of the neck frill. The bitten horn is also broken, with new bone growth after the break. It is not known what the exact nature of the interaction was, though either animal could have been the aggressor. Since the Triceratops' wounds healed, it is most likely that the Triceratops survived the encounter and managed to overcome the Tyrannosaurus. Paleontologist Peter Dodson estimates that in a battle against a bull Triceratops, the Triceratops had the upper hand and would successfully defend itself by inflicting fatal wounds to the Tyrannosaurus using its sharp horns. Classification. The clade Ceratopsidae was in 1998 defined by Paul Sereno as the group including the last common ancestor of Pachyrhinosaurus and Triceratops, and all its descendants. In 2004, it was by Peter Dodson defined to include Triceratops, Centrosaurus, and all descendants of their most recent common ancestor. Family Ceratopsidae. Subfamily Centrosaurinae. Alberta Ceratops. Alberta, Canada and Montana, USA. Brachyceratops. Montana, USA and Alberta, Canada. Diabloceratops. Utah, USA. Machyrhinosaurus, Utah, USA. Monoclonius. Montana, USA and Alberta, Canada. Xenoceratops. Alberta, Canada. Clade Centrosaurinae. Centrosaurus. Alberta, Canada. Coronasaurus. Alberta, Canada. Rubeosaurus. Montana, USA. Spinops. Alberta, Canada. Styracosaurus. Alberta, Canada and Montana, USA. Clade Pachyrhinosaurinae. Achelousaurus. Montana, USA. Ionosaurus. Montana, USA. Pachyrhinosaurus. Alberta, Canada and Alaska, USA. Sinoceratops. Shandong, China. Clade Nasutaceratopsinae. Avaceratops. Montana, USA. Nasutaceratops. Utah, USA. Yehuacoceratops. Coahuila, Mexico. Subfamily Ceratopsinae. Ceratops. Montana, USA and Alberta, Canada. Subfamily Chasmosaurinae. Agathaumas. Wyoming, USA. Agujaceratops. Texas, USA. Anchiceratops. Alberta, Canada. Rhinoceratops. Alberta, Canada. Chasmosaurus, Alberta, Canada. Coahuila ceratops, Coahuila, Mexico. Discanus, Montana, USA. Judaceratops, Montana, USA. Cosmoceratops, Utah, USA. Medusaceratops, Montana, USA. Mojoceratops, Alberta and Saskatchewan, Canada. Pentaceratops, New Mexico, USA. Polyonyx, Colorado, USA. Spiclepius, Montana, USA. Utah ceratops, Utah, USA. Vagaceratops, Alberta, Canada. Tribe Triceratopsinae, Triceratops, Alberta, Canada. Nedoceratops, Wyoming, USA. Ojoceratops, New Mexico, USA. Regaliceratops, Alberta, Canada. Tatankaceratops, South Dakota, USA. Titanoceratops, New Mexico, USA. Torosaurus, Wyoming, Montana, South Dakota, North Dakota, and Utah, USA and Saskatchewan, Canada. Triceratops, Montana and Wyoming, USA and Saskatchewan and Alberta, Canada. See also, Timeline of Ceratopsian Research. Dodson, P. 1996. The Horned Dinosaurs. Princeton University Press. Princeton, New Jersey. pp. XIV 346. Dodson, P. and Curry, P. J. 1990. Neoceratopsia. 593 to 618 in Weishampel. D. B. Dodson, P. and Osmolska, H. eds. 1990. The Dinosauria. University of California Press. Berkeley, Los Angeles, Oxford. 1990 XVI 733. Sampson, S. D. 2001. Speculations on the Socioecology of Ceratopside Dinosaurs. Or in the Sha. Neoceratopsia. In Mesozoic Vertebrate Life. Edited by Tanky, D. H. and Carpenter, K. Indiana University Press. pp. 263 to 276. Footnotes